when I first joined LCS, I was really bad, like one of the worst mid laner in LCS.
Picture this. You're the first new team of the franchise era to ever win a North American championship. After that success, you continue to build fandom, create exciting rosters, and generally accommodate yourselves into a sport your organization wasn't formally known for. You hit a point in your history where you have one of the most exciting star-studded rosters in North American League of Legends history. And while the luster of names like Bjergsen and Doublelift don't quite bring out the same way they used to, you also have Korean-turned domestic legends Someday, your star Turkish jungler that was the MVP of your championship season, all alongside some of the most exciting young talent in the league. As exciting as it is, this iteration of 100 Thieves does not work out, finishing third in the regular season during the spring of 2023, but bowing out early in the playoffs, and as expected, if still painful for everyone involved, the greatest mid laner to ever grace professional North American League of Legends is retiring, as Bjergsen finally puts an end to his incredible gaming career. Imagine being the player that is forced to fill these shoes. If that sounds like a big ask, it is. But come the summer of 2023, 100T settles on a young Korean talent to fill the shoes of the most veteran player of the position ever. From Gen G Challengers comes Quid, a player who's no stranger to being compared to the great players he's surrounded by, past or present. Gen G is of course home to Chovy, arguably the greatest modern mid laner to ever play, who it turns out is having one hell of a 2022 season. So off to a new region to play at a level he mostly hasn't yet, Quid moves from South Korea to the endless sun of Los Angeles to play with the same stacked roster that Bjergsen left. And he is, to put it nicely, absolutely horrible. Quid's rookie split is marred by mistakes, errors, and a general downturn from a team that looks like it's worn out the shine it had when they first lifted a trophy. So when the year resets and the 2024 roster is revealed for the org, fully 80% of it has been replaced. Every single player will retire or move on to a different team, leaving just one thief standing from the previous season. Their head coach even leaves for another team as the org promotes their former academy coach to lead the new squad, something he's never done before either. Seemingly doomed to fail, with budgets presumably tightened and the team trying to regain their footing almost from scratch, who do you think this single player left on the roster is? That same mid laner whose season was historically bad, Quid. And the best part? By the end of the split, he's going to be the league's MVP.
My first impression was just that he was like pretty good in lane. If I'd ever interact with him in solo queue, because I try to interact with most pros in solo queue just because it's fun, like a funny guy, and it was like nice to lane for him because he was always playing solo queue.
My first impressions on Quid was probably a lot like everyone else. I think that he joined a pretty underwhelming 100 Thieves, and it seemed like he suffered from pretty big stage nerves, to be honest. I had also seen him scrim because I watched the LCS team scrim in my spare time as well, and I thought that he had like a lot of potential. So like to me, he was just like a young Korean kid that like came in with like a ball of mechanics kind of vibe, as opposed to like the macro side of it. I thought that if he could just get over what was holding him back on stage, that it would be a really good player.
To get to Quid's transformative spring split, we first have to go back to his debut split just before it, summer 2023. Despite the weight of such a legend of the game retiring, the only slightly changed 100 Thieves roster actually began their season with a W, a good sign for a team looking to continue their regular season form from spring 2023, where they finished third, before crashing out in back-to-back best-of-5s in the postseason. Given that the only change coming into summer then was mid lane, it's a good thing the team starts off with a victory to swell their confidence. The problem is that the player in mid lane isn't a young South Korean talent, but another old Danish guy. That's right, Coach Nukeduck actually had to fill in for Quid due to visa problems at the start of the split, and shockingly they won with the Ducks Ahri holding up quite nicely. Quid's actual debut game though, it's perhaps an omen for the rest of the season, as it's an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I can't forget that. I think I was playing against Jojo Ahri, and when I first joined LCS, I thought I'll be anyone in this league, and when I play against Jojo, I felt, damn, this league isn't that easy. I just try to practice more.
Squaring off against peak form Jojo on Evil Geniuses, who would later be crowned the split's MVP, Quid ends the game getting literally outfoxed by Jojo's Ahri, and ends the game a bleak 1-8, getting solo killed and just generally gapped in the process. And the trajectory does not improve from here for Quid, as 100 Thieves spend the season treading water and trying to find any semblance of stability, even losing their final week tiebreaker game to Dignitas to finish in 8th place, scraping themselves over the finish line and into the last playoff spot. Starting in the lower bracket against Team Liquid, Quid finds himself facing the other even newer to the league North American Terra APA, where a fairly unceremonious 3-1 loss ends their season.
Was dead instantly, so Doublelift lost both his sums as well, and now they're going for a fight. APA gonna get jumped on now. Sure. Goes in, but he gets bursted down. Yawns in a rampage, and 100 Thieves may have just lost the game. They're ready for the flank. The Baron's down to about 700 HP. It's gonna be secure.
secured by Pioshik on the Sejuani as Double Lift gets chased. They got him! God rips the feathers right through him. Busio's gonna drop next. Quid goes into the Guardian Angel. He's gonna resurrect, but it's only in time to watch the season end. Team Liquid will get a clean ace. They will wipe 100 Thieves off the Rift. They will win this series.
While the team had flashes of brilliance throughout the split, nothing added up in a way it promised on paper, with veterans Someday, Closer and Doublelift not hitting the ceilings of their former glory, and rookie support Busio trying to find his feet in the big leagues the same as his mid laner. While Quid's ego would never be bruised quite the same way as his first meeting with Jojopyun, for the most part 100 Thieves beat the not so good teams and a massively underperforming Prince-powered FlyQuest and lost to everyone else. Of course, this started the same old discourse it always does.
I try to not care about like what communities say. I knew it's gonna be something. I didn't really try to watch that. Yeah, I didn't try to watch that.
Criticisms directed at just about everything you could think of, with Quid's play becoming a focal point for 100T's downsizing, and as always, people calling for a change. And a change did come, but probably the one people didn't expect. While some called, as always, for the ejection of any underperforming player, others looked at a truncated split from a player that had barely any time to adjust to his new team, let alone a new country, and wanted to see what Quid looked like after having a bit more time to marinate. Instead of changing mid laners once more, 100 Thieves changed literally everything else. Even Coach Nukeduck left for Golden Glue, who had formerly been the team's academy head coach, brought into the fold to lead the main team for the first time. Apart from Grayson, the other notable acquisitions on a roster that looked like quite the downsize from the previous veterans contained rookie top laner Sniper, brother of former NA Pro Viper, called up from the Orcs Junior squad, and previous finalist jungler River, a player known for playing for his lanes and making solo laners shine. A revamped youthful 100T roster that had in some ways nothing to lose. The only veterans were River and Australian support Ayla, and all of a sudden, Quid is the longest tenured player on the Orcs main League of Legends team after not even half a year with them. Lining up for his first game of spring against the same team and mid laner that knocked them out of playoffs, Quid faces APA and his Ziggs once more, but this time the story is very different.
But now 100 Thieves are taking a chance. They want to go in. APA goes to the wall. On his face, he's steel. 100 Thieves followed up, and Quid grabs the kill.
Unfortunately, when he meets his other North American nemesis, reigning MVP Jojopyun, who's now on Cloud 9, it's yet another gappening.
By the way, there's an Nocturnal. He's going to be going in on the Flabber, but Flabber turns it around on River. River in trouble, punches the back line there as well. As you can see, the Nico ult going to get popped. It's going to miss on Ember, and JoJo's in the back line. He does triple for JoJo as the execution sentence has been passed.
Come week 4 though, against the same Akali that gave him trouble in the opening week, and Quid finally gets some revenge.
Wall gets JoJo stuck on the right side of it. Now Seismic Shaw falling back over the unraveled earth. Akali ain't getting out of that one, baby. Quid picking up a kill.
As the curtain closes on the regular season, everyone starts to notice the same thing. In the games the Thieves are winning, Quid is carrying out of his mind in most of them. Winning player of the game more than any other player throughout the regular season, the Quid masterclasses are a treat to watch. Whether it's his Yone or a control mage like Talia, Quid has somehow completely reversed his fortunes from Spring and is playing like the prospect he was promised to be. He even pulls out Veigar of all champions in the last week of the split against defending champions NRG.
Now in the mid lane, another kill goes over to Quid. NRG are falling to pieces.
From a player that began his career in North America getting embarrassed by the region's most prominent mids, to finally shaking off his demons by taking them down and propelling his team to a second place finish. Playoffs, however, does not go to plan for the young, aggressive-minded Thieves as they run into a rampaging lower bracket Team Liquid on their own historic run, but the skill on display, particularly by Quid, has not gone unnoticed by the peers or the public. After debuting against Jojopyun to begin his career, merely a split later, he takes the title away from that same player to be crowned the MVP.
I was really happy that I won MVP in the season. When I first joined LCS, I was really bad, like one of the worst mid laner in LCS, and in next year I proved that I'm a good player, and on the split I felt I proved myself, so I was really happy.
Turns out if you give a player the right environment, good support, and just a little more time to prove themselves to you, that pressure turns coals into diamonds and nobody into the player everybody else wants to be. The Thieves' excellent run would continue in summer 2024, despite a rocky regular season, with Quid continuing to show his prowess on a host of different champions, but all with the same eventual outcome. When he has a good game, he carries you, from the start of the game straight into the enemy nexus. A third place in playoffs at the end of the year was good enough for his first Worlds appearance in 2024, and the opening split of 2025 saw the Thieves finish atop the heap in the regular season. With the Org leaving the league and falling short of winning another trophy, the former MVP became a sought-after prospect in the offseason. To that end, Quid finds himself on one of the most successful teams in LCS history, and the only team to ever lift a trophy more times in a row than any other. To say Team Liquid Quid is a player to watch in the LCS would be a massive understatement.
I think Team Liquid, they have most experience I've ever been in my entire career. So I'm really excited to learn from Core, and I want to prove that LCS team can compete against Asian teams in international tournament. So I'll try to focus on that, and I want to prove that I'm a player who can be winner.
Yeah, I mean, his first season, as I said, it just seemed like a player that had the tools but wasn't able to put the tool set together, especially in big moments. And I think that his MVP season, especially going into last year, what you saw is a person that played better in big games. And I think that that's a sign of a great player. And when I look at Quid, I see someone that has, gone through the hard part of the beginning of his career to now be in a place where he's very comfortable with his gameplay, comfortable with his style, and able to perform on that bigger stage.
We're so back. But for Quid, he never left.